taking notes today, not because I'm going to forget what I need to talk about, but I might forget when to stop. This is usually a class that takes me 2 to 3 hours to teach, and headquarters has given me 10 minutes, which frankly is just not enough time. But lots of things take time. And one of the things that we hear that takes time is trust. You hear it all the time. It's one of the most common phrases out there. Unfortunately, it also happens to be one of the most expensive lies we tell ourselves. But as agents, we like to have stories that make us feel better when we lose deals. And not having enough time to build trust is a very convenient one, right? It soothes our egos when a prospective client chooses to work with somebody else to have an excuse at hand. Well, if they had just gotten to know me better, they would have known I was the best agent for their needs, right? It makes us feel better when things go sideways, and it's not the only excuse I've heard. I have probably heard every excuse out there, and I've probably said them at some point too. My slides work. Maybe not. Okay, we'll just keep going. They were working right before you guys came in, so I blame you. Some of the excuses that we hear are things like they didn't know me long enough, they didn't like my opinion of price, they went with someone cheaper, the other agent overpromised or flat out lied, they were friends with the agent they chose. Now let me be very clear, all of those things can be true, but not a single one of them is the actual reason that we lose deals. There is only one reason that any of us lose a client, and that is trust. When you trace it back far enough, trust is the only thing that will make you lose a deal. Okay, one more time. We'll skip ahead to the next slide. You won't worry about it at all. So time does not create trust, behavior does. Trust does not magically appear after knowing someone long enough or because you've been in this business for X amount of years. If it did, there wouldn't be a single one of us with over 15 years of experience sitting in this room, because we would all be too busy with all of our clients. Trust is not charisma. Trust is not even being an honest person. Trust is not being liked. One of my favorite excuses is that they had a relative that's an agent. That's definitely harder to overcome. But in the last year, I've sold 2 houses to clients that had kids that were agents, and I promise you, they did not love me more than they loved their own children. You can be loved, you can be experienced, you can be ethical, and you can be the most talented and knowledgeable agent in your market, and you can still not create enough confidence for someone to move forward with you. All week here at R4, we've learned about things like listing presentations and AI and social media and technology and marketing, and all of those are so important. But make no mistake about it, all of those are tools. None of them are the goal. The goal every single time is to build trust. And if the tools that you're using are not being used with that goal in mind, you're not using your tools to the full power. Every one of our clients is looking for someone to rely on. And when they're deciding who to trust, our clients will look for 3 things. They will look for clarity. They want to make sure that you are clear about what their needs truly are, and they also want a clear path forward. They're looking for comfort. They want you to understand what truly concerns them and to believe that you will be the one to find the solution to the problem. And they want confidence to move forward with you and feel certain about their decisions. Trust is the rate at which confidence rises. A few weeks ago, I was called by some strangers, and they asked me to come and give them an opinion on a list price. They were thinking about listing their home. And through our conversation, they told me they had already met with 6 agents. Now, I promise you, I am not the only agent in my market who knows how to price a home. So when they told me that they needed one more opinion on price, I knew what they really needed was something else. I told them that I would be over there and I would need 15 minutes of their time that afternoon. They said, okay, we'll come prepared because our house is really unique. Was the home unique? No. There were about 13 other houses on the same street with the exact same floor plan. But But to my clients, to these clients, it was unique. I didn't come prepared that afternoon with comps or a market analysis. I didn't bring a listing presentation or any marketing plan. I only came prepared with one thing, my ears. I asked them questions and I listened to them. And when I asked them why their house was so unique, they told me about the years of time they put into it, the love, the memories, the money, and how they had to move for financial reasons. What they told me was that they needed price, but what they actually said was that they were afraid of making the wrong decision. They already had pricing from 6 agents, they did not need a 7th. What they needed was someone to rely on. I reflected back to them calmly that it sounded like they were afraid and unhappy with the situation they found themselves in. They instantly leaned in from having their feelings validated. The entire time we were there, we never once talked about what the price of their home would be. We never once talked about my commission. We never once talked about how I would market or sell their home. And after 15 minutes, I left and I told them I would be in touch. Before I got back to my office, they called me and asked to send over a listing agreement. I signed it an hour later and we never discussed my commission. So, anyway. I let them be heard. I acknowledged what their true feelings were. I didn't win the listing because I had better comps, or any comps for that matter. I won because I allowed confidence to rise. The other agents that met with them were solving for price. I was solving for uncertainty. In every conversation, confidence and trust is either increasing, stalling, or declining. Most agents are never measuring or tracking that at all. We think we're building trust because we're presenting information or proving our knowledge, but information does not automatically create conviction. In high-stake decisions, clients don't hire the agent with the most information. They hire the agent who makes them feel clear, understood, and confident. Clarity reduces hesitation, and when stakes are high, people will borrow certainty from the calmest person in the room. If you can name what your clients are actually afraid of, then you become the clearest voice in that conversation. And with that clarity, comfort follows, accelerating their confidence and trust in you. If you're losing deals, it's rarely because you aren't qualified. Trust me, I've seen too many unqualified agents get listings. You lose because conviction wasn't established fast enough. You don't earn trust because you've been in this business for 15 years. You earn trust because in the first 15 minutes, you started building trust. Your listing presentation, your pricing strategies, your marketing are tools. But the metric that matters is this one question. Is the client more certain now than when they started interacting with you? Because if confidence drops, your deals will die. If confidence stalls, your deals will stall. But if confidence rises, deals move forward. The best agents do not wait for trust to form. They create clarity so quickly that hesitation disappears. They don't compete on information. We compete on understanding. And here's the hard truth. If a client chooses to work with someone else, it wasn't because they needed more time. It's because that other agent build trust faster than you did. End of story. Not more years, not better data, not more charisma, client confidence. The kind that comes when they feel understood. Remember, trust is not built in months, it is built in moments. In questions, in calm, in the courage to voice what others avoid. So the next time you walk into a presentation with a prospective client, stop asking yourself, did they like me? And ask yourself, did confidence rise? Because if you didn't, you're losing. And that has nothing to do with time. 6 agents had data. 1 agent built trust. And that was all the difference. Not time, but behavior. And behavior is not something you should wait for.